As far as character, like I was talking about the villains that have been confirmed, I'm really interested to see Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is one of my something I liked about the animated series was that they made a lot of the main villains. For the most part, most of them sympathetic characters. Not all of them, but I mean some of them. Freeze was one of them. Freeze was just a guy who had been screwed in the animated series, was screwed by this corporation. He was using corporation money and funds and stuff like that to research a cure for his wife's disease or whatever. And it's very similar to Batman and Robin if you haven't seen it. So, from the trailer that they've shown for Arkham City, it seems like that's going to be pretty much the same thing. Freeze is going to be although Freeze is going to try to use Batman to help him. So, but yeah, that trailer is awesome. The voice actor, I think Maurice LaMarche or something LaMarche, didn't do the voice of Freeze in the cartoon series, but he sounds a lot like the guy, especially when they add the effect whenever Freeze closed his mask and the eyes went red. It's very similar to what he sounded like on the animated series, because I was watching an episode of Mr. Freeze the other day. Very similar sounding. Like when I started watching the episode, I was like, "Is that the same voice actor from the new game?" And I went and checked, and it wasn't. And I was like, "Oh, okay," but it sounds a lot like him. And then I listened back and forth, and they did kind of sound the same. It was kind of weird. That's what he sounded like. Yeah. Penguin. It seems interesting what they're doing with going with a Cockney. Jason Statham is doing the voice of the Penguin. No, it's Nolan North is doing the voice of the Penguin, and they're kind of going with a Cockney British accent, which is kind of funny because I figured if no one would have ever gotten around to doing the Penguin, I remember Bob Hoskins was a big candidate everybody kept throwing out, like a rumored kind of thing, and I could definitely see Bob Hoskins playing a Cockney Penguin because, one, he's English, and that's the kind of accent he has, so he could definitely play a mobster Cockney Penguin. So I thought it was funny when Arkham City went with that direction. I don't know if if the Penguin's been kind of adapted in that sense, as an English guy. See, an English guy in the comics, I don't know. I haven't really read a whole lot of Penguin stuff. But yeah, so what they're doing with Penguin's pretty interesting. Hugo Strange, outside of the Blur trailer, I haven't seen much. But he seems like a really kind of cool character. I wasn't really privy much to Hugo Strange before that trailer. Like when I saw the reveal of the character, I'm like, who's that? I don't know. So some people might be like, oh, Dan, how do you not know who Hugo Strange? I'm not super well versed in Batman. The majority of my knowledge from Batman, as I said in my playthrough of Arkham Asylum, was it's from Batman the animated series, the movies, and some of the comic books I've read. And tune in on Thursday. That's right, Thursday, to see what comic books I have of Batman, and then so. That'll help you maybe get a bit more of an idea of the knowledge I have of Batman after you know what comic books I have, because I've pretty much only read those and watched the animated series. So that's my extent of knowledge of Batman outside of everything else. So yeah, so Penguin, Freeze, very interesting. It'll be interesting to see how. I said interesting again. But it will be interesting to see how they use Zaz in this game, because not that he was underused in the last game, but he pretty much only seemed to hold people hostage. That seemed to be his thing. Was just like, I don't know what this was, because I did this and this. So apparently he's holding a knife at their neck and trying to force feed them something. I don't know. But yeah, their medicine, maybe. He's not a doctor. But yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how they use him in this game. Maybe he'll hold more people hostage. Who knows? But that's the main group of people. They showed Two-Face in the demo. That was awesome. They finally gone back to, Two-Face hasn't really been done so much with the multiple personality stuff since Batman Forever. Nolan's Harvey Dent Two-Face wasn't really necessarily about, he was definitely about chance and the flip of the coin kind of thing. But Two-Face has split personalities. That's the whole thing. Was in the animated series, he was kind of had voices in his head, a voice in his head that wasn't his own necessarily. And then when he was scarred, it was like a physical representation all of a sudden, and it in his mind it kind of snapped, and that voice took over half of himself, so he became like split personality, two people kind of thing. So it's fun to go back to Harvey Dent as that. He was very much that in Batman Forever, but not in Christopher Nolan's Batman. Not that that's a mark against Christopher Nolan's Batman. It's just his different interpretation of the character. But it's fun to go back and see the struggle between Harvey of right and wrong and good and evil kind of thing. Because the Harvey Dent aspect of Two-Face, Harvey Dent isn't a terrible person. So there's that constant struggle between them. So whenever he's doing something bad, he's Two-Face, but he does have that moral struggle when Two-Face is doing something, and that's very much shown in the demo. The struggle between the two characters. So the interplay should be very entertaining. I almost said interesting, but I switched to entertaining. How do you like that? One of the big highlights, and for pretty much everybody who played Arkham Asylum, was the Scarecrow sequences. And I don't know what, not necessarily that they have to do that again for this game. I actually hope they don't. I hope they get creative and have something, unique that's, something in the game that people will say, that was the highlight of the game for me. So hopefully they have kind of an ace up their sleeve, something they haven't announced that will really kind of blow fans away, like the Scarecrow sequences did in the first game. So I'm kind of excited to see what they could do that could, catch people off guard outside of what they announced. Because, as much as has been announced about the game, I still couldn't tell you what it's about. I know the setting. I know that it's taking place in a cordoned off section of the city that's Arkham. I couldn't tell you what's happening. As far as we know, the Joker is sick. Don't know if he's dying or what, but he's sick. So something's happening. And Catwoman's trying to steal something and blah 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 blah, kind of something and yada yada yada. So I'm kind of I like going in not knowing what the story's going to be about. Because at Arkham Asylum, they didn't give anything away pretty much about the main story about Joker and the Titan and all that stuff. So, yeah. So yeah, exciting, interesting. Yeah, there's no way I see this being a not good. Like, I don't think it's possible, which is kind of weird. It's kind of weird to be certain in that aspect. Are you guys worried about it at all? Do you think it doesn't look good? Do you think there's something about it you don't like? Let me know in the comments. There's not really anything that I think looks dumb or anything. Sometimes you see something in a game and you're like, oh, well, I don't really like that. There's nothing that's been announced for Arkham City that I've gone like, I don't know. I remember back in the day when they first announced it, and it was called, well, at the point they didn't have a title, but when they released the title Arkham City, I was like, oh, they're doing Arkham again? Like, because I remember thinking, how are they going to do it without Arkham? And, how are they going to take it into the city and still make it relevant and interesting? Because the thing about Arkham Asylum is a lot. I mean, it's a beat 'em up pretty much. It's a brawler. You're going from place to place and you're fighting groups of guys. How do you do that in the city when it's Batman investigating something, going from place to place? So I was wondering what they would do with the sequel. Obviously, they've made it Arkham City now, so there's still plenty of inmates to beat up. I'm wondering what they would do with a potential third game. would they make it Arkham, world, Arkham Gotham? What do you do after that? So I wonder if there will be a third game, and if they'll kind of take it out of that, prison setting, and maybe make it a bit more of a less of a brawler and a bit more of something else. Maybe, I don't know. Not that I would want them to do that, but I mean, it's there's only so many ways you can explain, going from confrontation without, there being a prison setting. I mean, because that's the thing about a prison setting, is you can go run into inmates every 5 seconds. If you're out on the street, a bad guy's can only have so many henchmen. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Be sure to check out the videos that are going to be posted out throughout the week. Tuesday, it's going to be me talking about The Dark Knight Rises and the future of the Batman franchise and what I would like to see happen, and that kind of things. And that kind of stuff. And then on Thursday, I'm going to be I'm going to be showing you my Batman comic book collection. And then on Saturday, I am going to be talking about, my connection with Batman, just my general history with Batman. I mean, I've told you guys a lot about it, and somebody actually summed it up in my announcement, my BatDanz announcement week video. That was out of order, but somebody was like, "Oh, I know what this video on Saturday is going to be." It's like he grew up, he was born, he watched the animated series, he really liked it. The end. And you guys have heard a lot about my history with Batman. It'll serve as a good wrap up to the week. It won't be an incredibly long video, but it'll be talking about my history with Batman. And I like it how in the announcement video it made me seem like I grew up with Batman. Me and Bruce Wayne, good friends. He was a bit more well off than I was, so there's kind of that kind of divide. That's a preview of the video. No, not really. I didn't grow up with Bruce Wayne. He's a fictional character. Yeah. So yeah. Hope you guys like this. Tomorrow, there will be some more Batman Arkham Asylum stuff going up. Me finding the rest of the Riddler trophies, and 2 of those videos, and then a video of a challenge map. Okay, bye.